How did you start in the real estate business?
How did I start in real estate business? I started early on, right after college, and actually I was looking to get a solid job or to raise my family and go to school at the same time. I got married very young. At that point, I says, well, I was looking for some type of career because I was I was going to school for bilingual education and business administration. So I wanted to make sure that something was going to flow in what my long-term endeavors was going to be, right? So I figured that real estate at that point was probably the best short-term scenario for me to get into a business structure.
Now that we touched the housing aspect of real estate, you have experience with nonprofits serving on their boards, and you are very familiar with Jurupa Valley. How do you think Jurupa Valley would benefit or be affected by affordable housing in the future?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that got me early on into nonprofit organizations, specifically nonprofit housing organizations. I started back in the early or middle 70s at that point, and there was no nonprofit housing organizations out there, very few. And the ones that were very few, they were the only developers out there. So one of the things that again I was looking forward to is how do we create or recreate a nonprofit that will serve our community, because I've been living in Jurupa Valley for close to 40 years.
What's your opinion on the development going on in Jurupa Valley, and how would you make it more responsible?
The issues that we're facing in Jurupa Valley, as any city in the growth pattern, I see that Jurupa Valley is not the politics and the housing environment in Jurupa Valley is not really there to really capture the much needed community needs for affordable housing. So the current housing stock that's being built today is directed into the market rate housing, which actually leaves a lot of local residents without good housing opportunities, either for ownership, which that's what I like to advocate for, ownership and asset and wealth building, and specifically in the younger generations, because we're such a centralized community and in major need of affordable housing that the current housing market is not in benefit to the current community members. One of the things that we face continuously is affordability factors of first-time home buyers and how they actually are able to buy a home, either through maybe some local subsidies, down payment assistance programs, or specialized lending programs that would allow them to come into a home maybe with 1% down. So taking those factors into consideration, utilizing the nonprofit world of housing and compounding it with possibly with some of the local banks to assist in some of the down payment assistance programs, either through their CRA credits or maybe the state-funded down payment assistance. Thinking outside the box, looking at the younger generations, the millennial generation specifically, they're very efficient in their thoughts and what they want to do. They just don't think it through. That's really the bottom line. But they have some excellent ideas, and it's a lot of shortcutting that they want to do. So part of that is maybe, not maybe, but I know there's a need to train or educate or coach the younger generations into becoming a powerful entrepreneur within our community. So I would say a class for entrepreneurship, beginning entrepreneurships, coaching on the financial needs to start a business, and then thinking outside the box. What kind of business are you going to develop in the community? Our community is very heavy set on Mexican restaurants, and as we see community members asking for different types of eateries that are non-Mexican because of our community. I mean, it's not being the food is being addressed based on the need for the community, but I think the younger generation have something to bring to the table, and that's thinking outside the box, different types of eateries.
So at the end of our show, we want our guests to ask the community a question. What's your question to the Jurupa Valley residents?
Well, my question would probably be, the first one would probably be is, what are your needs, personal, financial, and business needs? It's actually a trifold question. So as we're looking at the community, what are your financial needs? What are your housing needs? What are your ideas of creating a new business? And the financials that are actually, or the finances that actually are greatly needed so you can start your own business.